Now this week's word of the week is going to be torch. That's with respect to welding torches used in gas tungsten arc welding, not like a blowtorch or an oxy-fuel torch. It's this thing right here. It's the actual TIG welding torch. We already went over all the components that are up in here, the top part of it. What we're going to kind of look at with the torch is the stuff that's in the handle today. So that's the components that are over here. First and foremost, this is the 120-degree angle torch. That's what this angle is right here. That's the first one we got listed right here. These are the different kinds of torches. This is probably the most common. There's also a 90-degree, and that's usually has a small cap on the back, and it's used to get into tight places. There's adjustable ones, so you can actually move them around, and then there's straight lines. A lot of people call them pencil torches, but it's just a straight line torch. But this is by far probably the most common. Unless you're in an application where you're always getting into tight stuff, then you're probably going to see a lot of these 90 degrees. This torch is usually used because it can take the whole piece of tungsten, so they have a big end cap on the back. The problem with this torch is getting it into tight places, and that's when you go to either your 90 degree, your adjustable, or your straight line. The components of the torch, there's a lot of little parts up in here. We've already gone over that stuff. The stuff that we're going to go over is on the bottom side here. So the components that are in the bottom, and that's where the handle goes over this. So it kind of hides all this stuff unless you take it apart. But it's got a water inlet, so there's water going into it. There's a water outlet, so the water coming out, that's to keep it cool. You won't have that if you have a gas torch. But we're going to assume that everybody's using a water-cooled because, you know, water-cooled torches are pretty much a standard. Air-cooled, maybe for your garage, but they'll end up overheating. So a lot of people use water-cooled. So you're going to have a water in, your water out, power cable. The power cable is just a braided copper line that provides the amperage to the actual weld. What else we got here? Oh yeah, shielding gas. And the shielding gas inlet threads on here, and then it provides the shielding up here to the actual gas diffuser or the collet body that puts it out to the weld to protect from atmospheric contamination. So what we're going to do next here, problems. I wrote down all the problems I can think of that you can have with the torch. The main one down here, tight places, you just get one that fits, right? You go to one of the other ones we just mentioned here, the 90 degrees, if this one doesn't fit, or the straight line, or whatever it takes to get into whatever you're welding. So that's a main problem, you know, not fitting in to whatever you have to weld. But the only thing I could think of really for problems was overheating. Usually that can be prevented. Overheating usually comes when somebody unplugs the water cooler in my shop. It happens all the time. People unplug the water cooler and then they don't realize it's unplugged, and then this ends up overheating, which I drew an arrow down here, causes a leak. The leak usually can be prevented. If you're holding this and it's getting hotter than hell, something's wrong. Do some troubleshooting. You shouldn't hold this torch and be like, oh, my hand's burning, right? So it's very easy to not have overheating and prevent these leaks. If it's getting hot, stop. Don't just keep welding away until this thing starts to melt and then you have leaking. It'll also melt the power cable coating. I've had people melt the entire torch right to the point where usually they have a sleeve around the torch to keep it from getting burned. I've had them melt the sleeve before because they've actually got that so hot that it actually, went through the tubes and into the sleeve. So, the big thing with overheating is if it's getting hot, stop. Do some troubleshooting and figure out what's wrong. What we're going to do is go out in the lab here, and I'm going to show you this one right here, kind of opened up with nothing on it, and then I'll go to an actual machine and I'll pull the handle off, and we'll look at one that's on the machine that's all hooked up with your water in, your water out, your power cable, and your shielding gas in. So we'll go out in the lab and take a look at those torches. This is what a gas tungsten arc welding torch looks like before anything's put on it. So what we got going on here is these threads right here is where the handle threads into. This is where your power cable goes, as well as your shielding gas inlet. So the gas goes up through there, and that's also where the power cable hooks up. And these two are your water in and your water out. I'm not sure which one's in and which one's out, but that's what those two are. So this is what it looks like before anything's hooked up. So what we'll do is we'll find one that's hooked up, and we will we'll check that out after I pull the handle off, and you can see it when it's all together. This is a gas tungsten arc welding torch that we just pulled the handle down on so you can see the inside all hooked up. It's off of a Lincoln Precision TIG 275, and the handle's actually held on right here by compression. It's not like that one we just looked at that was threaded on. So these little rings right here are rubber, and they compress to hold it together. This is your shielding gas inlet as well as your power cable. It's on the inside here, so the shielding gas comes up through here, goes to the torch, and then these two right here, your water in and your water out. I don't know which one's which, but I guess it doesn't really matter as long as it gets through, right? That's all I got for today. That should wrap up our parts to a TIG Torch series that we were kind of doing. Thanks for watching and subscribing to TV Weld, and we'll see you next time.